This is 1480 KRAE Cheyenne.
Also being heard on translator K266CC Cheyenne at 101.1 FM.
Right now on 1480 KRAE, it's time for the Pro Show, featuring the only father and son sports talk show talking about the local sports scene as we take a look back and look ahead to upcoming events around our area. The Pro Show is on now, right here on 1480 KRAE. And good morning. Welcome to the Pro Show. I'm Larry Proietti, along with Nick Proietti. We're going to go right to the phone, bring on our first guest. He is the founder of 7220sports.com. Cody Tucker, friend of ours. We haven't had a chance to talk to you in quite a while. Get a chance to talk about Wyoming Cowboys, the majors, especially over at the University of Wyoming. And Cody, welcome back to the program. Glad to have you. And let's talk some hoops. Let's talk about what's going on with Jeff Linder's bunch over at the University of Wyoming. And I'm reminded, and this, again, I'm showing my age here, but kind of reminded of Joe Tiller's first year coaching after Paul Roach. The injury bug just swept right through his program right out of the box. And Jeff Linder's going through that type of situation with the Wyoming Cowboys. Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, the team photo is a Blue Cross X-ray right now.
Well, Larry, Nick, thank you guys so much for having me on. You're absolutely right. There's just not much you can do. And I know fans hate excuses and they're tired of hearing it, but this whole thing goes through Graham Ike, and that's what it was in the offseason. That's what they worked on in the offseason. We're talking on the offensive end, defensive end, and they had to completely change their mindset here and completely change the scheme. And when you do that, it's just not easy. And then in the beginning of the year, they had so many guys that they didn't really know what roles these guys were going to take, and then the injury bug started chipping away again, and it's been a mishmash of different guys, different personalities, different skill sets, and it's just been, like Linder puts it perfectly. They're just flat snake bit, and that's all there is to it. I mean, last night they played with an 8-man rotation, but in reality, 3 of those guys didn't even play more than 6 minutes. So 5 guys are out there for 30-plus minutes a game. That's just not a winning recipe.
Yeah, again, regarding last night, again, a loss on the road against UNLV, but let's look back to this past weekend that was, and Saturday at the AA border war against CSU Rams, where a lot of folks, again, rightfully so, kind of overriding, saying, hey, Cowboys have no shot taking down CSU, even if it's in Laramie, but it is a rivalry game. Cowboys pull off the 1-point victory in the border war and pick up their first Mountain West Conference victory. Let's go back to that contest of, Cody, what happened? Was it just a perfect storm of, again, just being at home and getting a few pieces back and, again, getting that victory against the CSU Rams? Let's look back to Saturday's win.
Yeah, let's please do, because that's been about the only highlight in the last 50 days for this program. So that day against CSU, I mean, they're clicking, they're hitting on offense, but mainly something they didn't do last night in Sin City, they didn't play defense. And so, to me, the key to that CSU win was Xavier Dussel and the job he did on Isaiah Stevens. And from the naked eye, you look at it and you go, oh, man, Stevens was flirting with a triple-double. He had 15 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists. I mean, that looks like a good day for anyone. But it was a very quiet effort from him. And Dussel just really hung – it didn't take 2 guys. It took Dussel. And Dussel hung in his side pocket the entire game. And he really did a bang-up job on him. And really – another thing, you got to have luck sometimes, fellas. And, Cartier, their big guy for the Rams, I mean, he was literally in the top 5 in the country as far as field goal percentage goes, and he goes 5 for 11. And CSU missed a ton of bunnies, a ton of stuff at the rim. They didn't finish at the rim. And, of course, the Cowboys blow a 16-point second-half lead, but somehow hang on there at the end. And I wrote about it this week, guys. This team just has not had a killer with Graham Ike on the bench. And Noah Reynolds is really becoming that guy. And they really went to him in crunch time, and Jeff Linder gave him the ball with 18 seconds left. And he made the drive that drew the foul on Jalen Lake, and he stepped up. And another bugaboo for this team, they're not hitting their free throws. He hit the front end, and that's all that mattered in that one.
Cody, in Jeff Linder's case, and again, he's a proven winner. There's no doubt about it. But this has to be a season that has taken its toll on him. I know he meets with the media and he says all the right things, but you kind of feel it in his voice a little bit that it's like, why me? Why us? Am I off on that?
No, not at all. Larry, this was supposed to be a really special year. It's rare this day and age that you go to the NCAA tournament and you return, your core, not only your core, the guys that the Cowboys lost in the transfer portal. I have a pretty good feeling that was a Deion Sanders type of situation that, hey, you're not going to play here anymore. And he went out and gets two guys from USC who were in the Elite Eight last year and gets a guy from UCLA who was in the Final Four. And you just think, oh, my gosh, they reloaded big time, and they just got better. The bench just got better. And then all offseason, before Graham was hurt, it was like, hey, man, we're 11, 12 deep, and these guys have played meaningful minutes. Almost everybody on this roster has played in the NCAA tournament. And then it just starts dropping like flies. And I think last night at UNLV, Linder gets a technical there at the end, and I think it had a lot to do with the flop on Harkness that drew the 3 free throws from Xavier Dussel. But that was also just, he's had enough. he's absolutely it's the world against the Wyoming Cowboys right now, and Jeff Linder's feeling it. And he had to be restrained by an official last night, so he's lucky he even remained in that game. But that's all that is, man. It's just pure frustration at this point. Nothing goes right. And then the defensive effort last night just wasn't there either, so he was mad at his own guys. And it's been a maddening season. And it may have sounded like a joke when I said that CSU game was the only highlight in about 50 days. That's the truth. It was 50 days, 8-game losing streak. And it's just they've lost in every imaginable way, from heartbreak to blowout. And it's been unbelievable. It really has. Everything that has gone wrong everything that could go wrong has gone wrong.
Keeping on the topic of Coach Linder, I want to go back a couple weeks ago where, we go back to the Saturday's contest, looking at the photos there at the AA. Again, crowd was pretty healthy there, and obviously for the Border War, again, it brings a lot of folks in, whether it's from Laramie, Cheyenne, again, Fort Collins as well, too, for that big-time rivalry contest. But previous, Jeff Linder, again, infamously about a couple weeks ago, went in front of the media and said, hey, fans, even while we're hurt, even while we're down and out right now, we still need your support. We need you to show up. I was kind of critical of Jeff Linder on that, saying, hey, the product is not there, and these fans. And, again, with the weather that is, especially how heavy the winter has been this season, again, it's a little tough to get over the hill to Laramie to go watch, or at least kind of spend that money to make a trip out for, again, kind of a weekday game, especially in that non-conference. I want to get your takes on that, Cody, of what Jeff Linder had to say kind of a couple weeks ago about fans not really showing the support or coming out for Cowboy basketball this season.
Yeah, I enjoy the passion of it, really, Nick. I think the passion's there, and I think, his mind was in the right spot. His heart was in the right spot. I think his thinking is, hey, man, we were just in the NCAA tournament last year. We just took you guys on this ride last year. And then, now when the going gets bad, you're nowhere to be found. However, with the injuries this team has sustained, the basketball has not only been bad, it's not even fun to watch. Not only is it a bad product right now, it's seriously not fun. So I don't blame the fans at all for not coming over. And, you have the same old issue that Wyoming basketball has had forever, that Larry would know perfectly. You can't get anybody to come here in non-conference play. So the teams they're playing are just Little Sisters of the Poor stuff, and then the Cowboys are losing to Little Sisters of the Poor. So it's really hard, and I think Jeff maybe doesn't understand that, because if you think about it, fellas, his first 2 years on campus, COVID marred the whole thing. So it was so different, and it looked so different, and the crowds weren't great in general. But now I think he's just expecting – I see where he's coming from. I really do. I see hey, we won 25 games last year. Hey, we had a special run. Hey, we got a bunch of guys back. And he was saying things like, I've only heard that Wyoming's loyal, and, this is not loyalty. Where's the loyalty at? But I think he understood, and he kind of backtracked the next week a little bit, and he understood that he probably shouldn't have done that. But you know what? He's frustrated, and he's emotional, and he's kind of lashing out kind of in every which way you can do it. And to be honest, Larry, you kind of touched on it. It's been a honeymoon, right? I mean, the first 2 years of Linder's tenure here, all he did was come in and recruit the number one class in the Mountain West over Zoom calls, bring in these EKs and Xavier Dussels, and keep guys like Maldonado. And everything was good, and the Cowboys were really competitive that first year after Allen Edwards. And then last year they did what they did. But now the honeymoon's kind of over with the media, and it's over with the fans a little bit right now too. So I think we're just kind of sinking into a little bit of reality here of, of what it might be like. So it's been bad. We all know it. We all know the reasons the Cowboys are struggling so mightily this year, but they still should be better, and he'll tell you that with his own mouth. He was really pissed off last night about the effort. He even questioned their pride. So he's not happy with that, and he'll be the first one to mention, hey, we have a lot of injuries, but we also have a lot of guys out there that are still veterans and have still played in big basketball games. So there's really not an excuse at this point. I mean, but they're not going to compete for a Mountain West title by any means. I mean, that went out the window 2 months ago. But these guys should be better, and they should. And he's just frustrated because I don't think he's getting the best out of these guys, and I don't think Max Ogmonpolo from USC hasn't left the bench in 2 games, and he was in the doghouse earlier this year. So I think guys just aren't maybe doing what he wants them to do, and he's just frustrated. Purely, that's the best way to describe it.
Cody, crystal ball it for me here over the next 6 weeks, and that will lead us up to the Mo West tournament, because that's about all we can hang our hat on right now for the Wyoming Cowboys. Is the team bewildered, lost, or is there that window of opportunity for this team? Because, again, it's not really – right now we've kind of cashed in the Mountain West Conference championship. So we've cashed that in. But, and most coaches will say it's not how we're playing now, it's how we're playing late February into March. Is there that possibility that this team can make a showing at the Mountain West Conference tournament, or they are one-and-doners?
Sure. You know what? I think it's somewhere in between, to be honest with you, Larry, because, this team's not giving up. And that's the one thing you really can't take away from them. Last night they went down by 16 late, and they turned it into a 5-point game 2 different times, and they fought like hell at Air Force last week, and they've really been in almost every single game this year. I mean, there's with this, aside from a couple. I mean, they took San Diego State to the wire, they took New Mexico to the wire, so they're not getting blown out, but they're not finding ways to close. And I guess the best way to answer it, Larry, is is Graham Ike coming back? Is he going to play this year? We don't know. We have no idea, and I honestly don't think – I don't even know if Graham Ike himself knows. But if he comes back, man, and unlike last year where down the stretch they weren't healthy, they were tired, they were exhausted, and then they weren't playing their best basketball. I mean, if he comes back, say, with a week or 2 weeks to go before Vegas, who knows? I mean, who knows? Plus, Brendan Wenzel's supposed to be back here soon. Kenny Foster could be back by the end of next month. So basically, your roster is right back intact, right in time for March. So, I mean, a lot of this rested on Graham Ike, and it has from the beginning. And there's no reason to sugarcoat it. It's a big deal. This whole thing went through him. He's a really special player in the game of college basketball, and the Cowboys had, every reason to think. I mean, what did Andy Katz call him, a dark horse for the Final Four before the season started? I mean, that's how special Graham Ike is. So if he comes back, why not? I mean, that'd be a really popular bet in Las Vegas, I'll tell you that.
Cody, as we talk about the injuries to everyone, at least a part of this Cowboy basketball team, the chance is, with injuries, we now see the up-and-comers, or at least the future superstars, a part of this team that are going to develop. And again, obviously, it's not really working out as you would want here this season. But, again, you're starting to look at least potential, whether it's sophomores, juniors, again, a part of this program, and the future of the Cowboys. I guess, what are your takeaways as we see this younger class have to now step up and be in these starting roles?
Well, one name comes to mind immediately, guys, and that's Noah Reynolds. He's really a special player, and we don't get to sit courtside anymore for many games, but we did sit courtside in Colorado Springs a couple of weeks ago, and to see that guy from up close, his finish around the rim is incredible. He's a physical specimen. He plays really, really hard-nosed basketball. I want to say 7 of his last 8 games, 20-plus points. He's also dishing the ball. He's got a really good vision. So he has just been lights out. And this is a guy who never left the bench last year against Indiana in the first 4 game in Dayton. And he really took that personally. And he took it into the offseason, and all I heard was Noah Reynolds had the most unbelievable offseason. He's a totally different player, and boy, has he been. He has really tried to carry this team as much as possible. So he is a really special player. He's a sophomore. And then, Brendan Wenzel's been injured, but, man, when he plays, he can go on these little tears here where he's hitting 4 or 5 threes in a row, and he can be really special. And the coaches said he had an unbelievable offseason. So if you think about it, though, guys, I mean, say everybody comes back, which in this day and age, who the hell knows when it comes to any college sports, who comes back, who enters portals, who does this, who does that. But if you really get down to it, Hunter Thompson and Hunter Maldonado are the only two seniors on this team. I mean, they're the only two guys that are going to exhaust their eligibility. So these guys could all be back intact and healthy next year. Will that happen? I have no idea. But, I mean, that's what kind of sucks, though, right, nowadays. Back when, Larry, you brought up Joe Tiller and all those injuries, you knew those guys were coming back the next year. Now you just don't know. So if we could guarantee those guys were coming back, I think Wyoming fans might go, hey, a mulligan on this year. It was a terrible year for injuries and illnesses and all kinds of stuff, but guess what? All those cats are coming back next year, and you have to figure they got handed some real humble pie this year, so maybe that's a really hungry team that comes back next year as San Diego State loses the Matt Bradleys and as CSU loses the Isaiah Stevens. So that is a reality if all these guys come back.
You know, it's interesting. I want to go to the other locker room now, and that would be Cowgirl basketball after Gerald, retired, and new coach comes in, and of course she steps away for a little bit. A lot of distractions within the Cowgirl basketball program. Then they go on to a little bit of a streak, and lately they've been hurting a little bit. But a most interesting year for the Cowgirls, and if anything that we're seeing with this team is the development of post Gerald Mattinson.
Yeah, you know what? Full disclosure, guys, I don't really cover the Cowgirls all that closely, but I do pay attention to them. And I'll tell you what's beautiful about that program is it just doesn't change. I mean, this is their third head coach in 4 or 5 years, and they just keep humming along, and they just keep coming up with these girls that are just so hard-nosed and play the game the right way and really capture the imaginations of that hardcore. It may not be the biggest fan base, but that hardcore fan base that really loves the Cowgirls. So I know they're one of those teams that other teams don't look forward to playing, especially in Las Vegas. You never know with them, and Allison Fertig is really special. And, I spent a lot of time in Douglas, and I kept hearing about this girl from down the road that was coming up through the ranks and really good. And, man, when she gets to high school, she's going to be unbelievable. And, man, they were right, and she's doing a really good job in Laramie. So, fun team as usual. They just don't skip a beat. And, I mean, that kind of consistency, you just don't find that a lot, especially, at mid-major programs.
Cody will step away from the wintertime sports, again, Cowboys and Cowgirls basketball, but let's go back to fall. Let's recap the football season very quickly as, again, we're getting close to time. Again, we'll let you go here very shortly. But, again, it's Cowboy football season. Again, they weren't expected to do a lot. They exceeded expectations, got into a bowl game, again, lost to the Ohio Bobcats. Craig Bohl still overall in Mountain West Conference play, though, finds himself under that Mendoza line. I guess, Cody, let's get into your thoughts of this season for Cowboy football. You got to imagine that there was a lot of, at least, positives within it. And, again, is there negatives how it ended with that loss to the Ohio Bobcats?
Yeah, guys, I mean, really, we should be talking about, wow, man, the third youngest team in America just went 7-6, and that's after laying a complete egg against Illinois in the opening game of the year, which Illinois turned out to be a pretty good team. But, I mean, 5 completions all day long for 40 yards and an interception from Andrew Peasley. I'm sure a lot of people were thinking what I was thinking is, oh, my God, this quarterback position is still not fixed. This passing game is still a train wreck. And then next thing you know, they go into double overtime with Tulsa the next week, and Andrew Peasley's the Mountain West Player of the Week. So we should be talking about all the positives here. I mean, so many young guys got experience this year and played really well. In a position group I like to point out is the defensive ends. They came into this season with 0 combined sacks with the guys they had. And Sebastian Harsh was the MVP of the offseason, and they kept talking about how special this kid's going to be at the DN spot. He has a knee injury right before the season starts, and then you're like, oh, my God, are they going to get any pressure on any quarterback? They got no pressure on the quarterbacks at Illinois, so you're thinking, oh, no, this is going to be ugly. But those guys really stepped up. They finished with 22 sacks on the year, 39 overall for this defense, which was second in the Mountain West. They just really – we should be just talking about all these great things, but unfortunately, guys, there's still this elephant in the room. This offense and this offensive scheme do not work. I mean, they just don't. We're now through 9 years of this, And really, since 2016, the passing attack has been just so inconsistent, and that's really a nice way to put it. And, oh, by the way, Josh Allen was also the quarterback in 2017. It was bad that year, too, and it's been just a constant downhill slide. Ohio, going into that game in Arizona, was statistically the second worst pass defense in the country. It sure didn't look like it in Tucson. The Cowboys made them look pretty darn good. So just really frustrating. And then, to make matters even worse, the Cowboys go right down the field on Ohio twice on their first two drives. They're looking creative. They're getting quick passes off, RPOs. It looks really good. It's like, where's this team been? And then all of a sudden, it goes right back to the stuff we've seen for the last 9 years. And I know Craig Bohl gets irate with us, and especially me, bringing this passing game up all the time and bringing up this bringing up this scheme. But it's true. I mean, it's true. And I think about next year, guys, it should be excitement. They really did well in the portal. They really didn't lose a lot in the portal. They added a couple of nice pieces. Harrison Whaley is a great running back from Northern Illinois. We saw that firsthand 2 years ago. The entire defense is coming back. They have great offensive linemen coming up the ranks that might even be better than last year's guys. But how can you get overly excited and start talking about a Mountain West title after what we know this offense can't do? And they've just got to change.
Well, Cody, you made a great point there. Again, we're coming up on year 10. What will be media day in August from Craig Bohl, because he was brought in to win Mountain West Conference championships. Nil on that. Me personally, I'm getting tired of going to boring bowls where we actually lose money. What's the shtick going to be this summer from Craig Bohl?
Yeah, and that's the thing, Larry. We've been hearing shticks. We've been hearing, hey, we're going to reinvent this offense. We're going to re-engineer this offense. That hasn't happened. I mean, it just hasn't. And if it has, I'm really scared because it's just been the same stuff year in and year out. And he'll flat tell you, hey, you know what? Those 3-yard gains that aren't very sexy in the first half turn into 7- and 8-yard gains. Yeah, well, sometimes that is true. And when it works, it looks pretty nice. But what about when you're down 14 points already? What if you're down already? That's not an offense where you're coming back on anybody. So it's beyond frustrating, and something's got to change here, man. And if you think about it, Craig Bohl's contract's up here in a couple of years. I mean, it's time to make hay, or he's getting to the age where, maybe retirement's around the corner, and you'd hate to see him unceremoniously dumped here, but I can't see him going into the final year of his contract, a lame duck coach without an extension, but I also don't know how you extend him.
Well, and I don't think Tom Brummer wants to do the buyout thing. Let me just interrupt you real quick on the Titus Swem situation. Was Titus Swem, and again with his dismissal from the team, was Titus Swem pretty much the reaction of the fan base here in Wyoming to what has gone on under Craig Bohl?
Yeah, that's a fantastic point. Yeah, I think so. And I saw some fans say, well, I don't know why he's so upset. I mean, he's the focal point of this offense. And it's like, well, he's not a dummy. He knows you have to be able to throw the ball. They had Boise State on the ropes. They threw 3 completions all night. Jaden Clemens has 3 completions to his own teammates and 3 completions to the other team. You're not going to get it done. And the Cowboys were that close. They're knocking on the doorstep of being on top of the Mountain Division with 1 week to go, and to beat Boise State for only the second time in their history of the program. So, yeah, that's a great way to put it, Larry. I think his frustration boiled over. He's not happy with the scheme, and he told Craig Bohl that. And then it turned into some insubordination stuff from my understanding. And you can't have that. I get it. I get where Craig's coming from, but that marriage was just over. But that's a great point.
Well, Cody, some great stuff from you. And again, thank you for your continued coverage of the Wyoming Cowboys because, again, you keep us totally abreast of what's happening. Again, the founder of 7220sports.com. Cody Tucker, join us here on 1480 K-Ray. Partner, you're always welcome to come back and join us again.
Hey, I appreciate you, fellas. As always, thank you.
All righty, Cody Tucker, join us here on 1480 K-Ray. This is the beginning of day 2 of our program. The Pro Show, Larry Proietti, yours truly, Nick Proietti. We will be back with more. We got to pay some bills. We'll be right back right here on 1480 K-Ray.
This message is for Karina, our mom who finished her high school diploma at age 28. Hi, Mom. It's Emmettith and Nicholas.
Congratulations on getting your diploma.
You worked so hard and have taught us so much. We love you.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Your locally owned and operated radio stations, KYOI FM and 1480 K-Ray AM, are just that, local. Serving Cheyenne and Laramie County, where your advertising dollar stays local too. It doesn't end up in Colorado, Oklahoma, New Hampshire, or even New York. We conduct business here, we shop here, and we live here. And we support our entire community 24/7, 365. Just because it has a window dressing doesn't mean it isn't a facade. A reminder from KYOI and 1480 K-Ray.
Check out the huge savings this week at Town & Country Supermarket Liquors. Here are just a few of the terrific weekly specials.
It's your one-stop to shop for these super radio buys heard only right here. Reina de la Muerte Blanco Tequila, 750 milliliter bottle, $39.99. Tecate or Tecate Light, 12-pack, 12-ounce cans, $12.99. And Tanqueray Orange Seville Gin, 750 milliliter bottle, $19.99.
Town & Country Supermarket Liquors on the South Greeley Highway, Cheyenne's low-price leader.
Cheyenne Urological has been the cornerstone of urinary care to Cheyenne and its surrounding communities for over 30 years. With their fine expert doctors, along with their highly trained staff, they will provide top-quality treatment for prostate cancer, urinary tract infections, kidney stones, impotence, and incontinence. Cheyenne Urological is now offering cutting-edge robotic surgery. So call Cheyenne Urological at 635-4131 for compassionate expert urinary care. That's 635-4131. MHP is a certified public accounting and consulting firm located in Bow, Cheyenne, and Fort Collins, offering accounting, tax, and consulting services to businesses, not-for-profit, government, and individual clients. MHP takes pride in their commitment to providing close, personal attention to their clients. They also continue to invest time and resources in continuing education, state-of-the-art computer technology, and valuing their relationships with you. MHP is a proud supporter of local and UW athletics. MHP, 314 West 18th Street, or call 634-2151.
Are you like me? You have health insurance, but you don't have dental insurance. Do you need to get to the dentist right away? Maybe you need an implant or some other major service. Well, I found a dental insurance plan that's just right for you. It's called Spirit Dental. Spirit Dental offers a $100 lifetime deductible, a huge network of dentists. And here's the best part. There's no waiting periods. Yeah, that means you can call right now and have real dental insurance for you and your family tomorrow and get that immediate coverage you want. Spirit Dental has plans for just a few dollars a day, up to $5,000 annual maximum, and coverage for implants. Whatever age you are, the dental insurance you need is a free phone call away. Now don't wait, and be sure to ask about Spirit's vision plan. Here's the number: 800-631-9229. 800-631-9229. That's 800-631-9229.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 K-Ray.
Otherwise, for today, partly to mostly cloudy. Expected daytime high near 26 with a slight chance of snow developing this afternoon. For tonight, it's going to be partly cloudy and blustery with patchy blowing snow, or low down to 19 degrees. Tomorrow, Thursday, partly to mostly cloudy and windy. We're looking for a daytime high near 32. And for Thursday night, mostly cloudy and windy, or low down to 22 degrees. Larry Proietti along with Nick Proietti, as again, just quickly recapping a little bit of Cody's comments. And, you know, again, you do feel for Jeff Linder right now, because, again, here's a coach that has had success wherever he stopped. And this is tough on him. Again, don't think coaches are not that heavily involved. They're not. If he's looking for something elsewhere in his career, great, terrific. But when you get a stumbling block of injuries, health issues, man, I'll tell you what do you do, Nick? I mean, you know, it's kind of like, well, you know, next guy down on the bench, let's put him in a uniform. Kind of reminds you of Hoosiers. You only got 6 guys here. Let's get the manager to suit up and go out there and play. I mean, it's been a unique season for the Wyoming Cowboys,
Well, again,
and they're limping through it.
We've seen it, especially on the JUCO side. Again, look what over a couple of teams with LCCC, where again starters go down, not the amount that Wyoming has had, but again we see a couple big names go down for LCCC in years past. Again, you got to look to the bench. The bench is not ready, and again they've had some struggle, at least seasons a couple of years ago, with at least with LCCC Golden Eagles. So again, it kind of affects on the college level again, all the way JUCO up to Division I. Again, for Coach Linder, obviously, again, you don't prepare and you put your scheme in for players of, again, to be healthy, to be out there, again, your potential starting five. But you also, too, got to put in the fact of if there is an injury, who's going to be that next man to step up or kind of fill this void and role? Again, is Coach Linder right now focused on getting away from Wyoming or, again, trying to go to a higher, again, a Power 5 school to coach basketball? I don't think that's in his mind right now. I think that's furthest from it. I think he enjoys being out here in Wyoming. I think he enjoys being a part of this team, especially the magic that he did last season. And, again, the high hopes that he had this season for this Cowboys team before all the injuries. Again, we expected to win a Mountain West title once again, go through the tournament, be in the NCAA tournament once again. So, again, there was high expectations. It kind of now goes into what is going to be recruiting. Obviously, there's still a lot of regular season and postseason upcoming for Jeff Linder and the Wyoming Cowboys, but got to imagine recruiting's on the back of his mind of, in order to avoid this situation, where do we look, or what does recruiting look like? Again, do they go to JUCO? Do they look to, again, transfers as they did with, again, as Cody mentioned, again, UCLA, USC? I mean,
who's coming back?
Again, who's coming back as well, too? Who's going to move into the transfer portal? There's a lot of questions, but I think recruiting is going to be kind of the mainstay focus of what is Jeff Linder's approach going to be now, knowing that, or at least now experiencing one of his rougher seasons. And, again, I equate that to, again, his time at UNC to now here with the Wyoming Cowboys. You're going through a very tough, rough spat, at least kind of patch, where what's going to be the direction of the Wyoming Cowboys, especially on the recruiting side of, do we go for the true freshmen or do we get some quote-unquote veterans that have had college experience, even if it is on the JUCO level?
I think the pressure for him to win next year, right out of the box, might be in that JUCO selections. I think they're, again, you could hear it in his voice talking with Cody. He's expressing that same, and again too, we as sports guys, we have to be right down the middle on this, but also too, to a certain degree, we're fans as well. And the pressures today, and again, coaches are judged by wins and losses,
especially at that level,
at this level. So the immediacy to win next year and win back the Wyoming fans is got to be a burden. I know Jeff Linder will disagree with half of what I'm saying here, but again, it's about W's and L's, and that's what puts butts in seats. You made the great point that fans aren't showing up. They've kind of
Well, and again, we know
in the towel.
We know this fan base, again, whether it is for Cowboy basketball, for Cowboy football, where again it's I'm gonna say it again. We've said it plenty of time. Again, it's fair weather fandom out here, where again your team's winning, they'll show up. If your team's losing, hey, there's better things to spend my money, do my time with here in the state of Wyoming, instead of going over to Laramie to again kind of quote-unquote kind of waste my money to watch some bad basketball or bad football. Again, we know the situation, especially in this time of the year, again, wintertime. Again, if I-80 or if there's moisture in there, if there's a chance for snow, I'm not going to risk it to go.
Drive, from Green River, Rock Springs, you want to come over Elk Mountain and Arlington to watch the Cowboys to get their brains beaten? No, it's not that at all. Here's another thing, too, and I like the comments that he made on football. And again, we've been in the press area when Cody's had that opportunity, and he's one that will throw that question out at Craig Bohl. But again, too, Craig Bohl has to address himself and his decisions, because the kids are only good as the coach. And I think right now, and I don't want to say that about this team, because there are some bright spots on the Wyoming Cowboys, but again, we're mediocre. We are a mediocre outfit under Craig Bohl.
And I think for Craig Bohl and the Wyoming Cowboys on the football side of things, they hold their hat too highly, and again, rightfully so, of players that we moved on into the NFL, and again, superstars that are at that next level. Again, we look, or at least we're posting up, hey, guess how many Cowboys are playing in the upcoming playoffs. Again, that's fine and dandy without a doubt, but again, it's more so of, yeah, that's great that we're moving on to that next level and building so-called the brand, but the brand right now is 500 football, if not even less.
And crappy bowls.
Still can't get to a Mountain West Conference championship. Again, yes, it is crappy bowls. It's offense that is one of the worst. And again, I've said it. Again, how many times have I come on this program or, again, our other iteration of Wyoming Sports Talk today of saying, hey, look at the stats. Offense is one of the worst. It is dead last in Division I football. That is not going to win you games. Again, you're holding your hat too tightly on this defense, which is saving you in a lot of these ball games. There's the reason why you are winning these ball games. Imagine if you had the offense, even if it was halfway decent, if it was putting up 50th place in D1 football. Again, imagine what the possibilities are. Again, where Craig Bohl, and the issue I have with him at the helm, where again we've called for him to kind of step down, or again the athletic department to kind of move on from the guy. I think it's more so he tries to lay, it feels like, again, you listen to these press conferences, it feels like the guy's trying to lay blame on criticism of on the media, armchair quarterbacks, the fan base that is unhappy, where, hey, you don't know the true reality. The true reality, again, yes, as we talk about with Jeff Linder, we talk with Craig Bohl, it is numbers. It is wins and losses. And so far, again, in your overall, in your Mountain West Conference, this season you were, again, one game above 500. You lost to, again, an Ohio team that had 3 quality wins this season against teams that were at 500. Again, we judge you on those stat lines. We judge you on the wins and losses. And so far, nothing has been impressive. The impressive year was, again, 2016. You competed for a Mountain West Conference championship. You didn't get it. You had a bowl game against BYU. You didn't win that one. What is your statement win for Craig Bohl? A win against Missouri at home, where, again, we found out that Missouri team that year was not all that good in the SEC.
Your only statement win really is Boise State. You beat Boise State.
And Boise State is not the same program as it was a decade ago.
Under Allen, you beat them and you beat San Diego State, but you lost to San Diego State in the Mountain West Conference Championship at home.
Yeah.
So, again,
I think my issue with Craig Bohl is more so, again, where he's not, it doesn't feel like he's taken enough of he's trying to deflect.
He doesn't shoulder the blame.
Yeah, without a doubt.
It's
deflecting
everybody else's
to
fault. Yeah, I agree with you. And again, Craig Bohl, I was there the day you stepped up to the podium and said, "I'm here to win. I'm here to bring Mountain West Conference championships to this program." Nil, and we are into the 10th year of the program. What excuse do you have? And again, too, you brought your program from North Dakota to Wyoming, and it hasn't really panned out, has it?
It won you national championships down on the FCS level, but again, it's not doing squat up here D1 in the Mountain West Conference, again, in a mid-major conference nonetheless. So, again, that's kind of the question mark. Again, for Craig Bohl, again, we'll see. Obviously, he's going to retain it and move into 2023 as the head football coach there at the University of Wyoming. But, again, how much more can fans or the athletic department kind of take of kind of mediocre football where, again, yes, we've gotten into a winning way, but I think Cowboy fans at this point are wanting more. We want, again, I've said it many a time of what's wrong for the Wyoming Cowboys to be the next Boise State, to have that consistent winning, to be favorite year in and year out of winning a Mountain West Conference championship title. What is that issue? I think the Cowboys have that potential. The recruiting's there, the talent is there, the facilities are there to an extent. What is wrong with stepping up to that next level, finding that next guy that can put you past that brink of year in and year out? We're up in the conversation with Boise State of, yes, you are the favorites to win. Yes, you have one of the better recruiting classes here in the Mountain West Conference. And again, it comes with the concern of the realignment in college football right now where, again, within the Mountain West Conference, we know teams are already leaving. Wyoming kind of finds himself with a few others that are on an island floating around going, what's our future? Where are we going to play? Do we have to add teams? Do we have to move to another conference? Can a Power 5 even accept us? Does a Power 5 conference, if it comes down to that, would even want us?
Well, it's interesting what Cody said, too. the renewal of Craig Bull's contract, Wyoming's going to probably fulfill that renewal. I don't think they want to do the buyout and get rid of him. Even though we've heard that comment, hey, they're going to reassess. But the thing is, Craig Bull, hey, he can retire. He's going to retire with a 7-figure contract. Hey, you know what? Tell me what the motivation is for him.
Yeah, who knows at this point? Again,
throw the blame game on everybody else but yourself. You are not that good of a coach.
Yeah, for Craig Bull, again, we will see the benefit for this season where, again, we talked with Tom Berman, again, before that season saying, hey, they're going to keep a close eye on this football program and see how it develops this year. Well, again, it did exceed expectations. It was expected to be dead last year in the Mountain West Conference. It did exceed. And, again, in our opinion, or at least in mine, again, they were fortunate this season to play a very down-and-out Mountain West Conference.
West Conference was at its worst.
It was one of the worst seasons for play in the Mountain West Conference. Again, teams were not as good as we've seen in years past, so I think they benefited from that. And again, that's why you give the guy a pass, or at least the athletic department is more so of, again, he exceeded expectations.
How many more passes are you going to give?
I'm not. But just
how many passes is the athletic department going to give Craig Bull? And again, how many more mediocre bowls do we have to go to where the athletic department loses?
Yeah, the question mark, it kind of lays with the fans right now, again, from season ticket holders to, again, just kind of the fringe fan of what is the pulse of Cowboy Nation at this point. We're, again, heading into 2023. Are you excited? Are you kind of neutral? Are you, again, not looking forward to it? It's more so of you have now 10 years of expectations of reality of what this team is made of. And again, if I break out my crystal ball, and again, we're months away from even, sniffing gridiron football right now over there in Laramie, Wyoming, but it's something that you got to imagine this team is going to be, near 500, pick up a couple wins in the non-conference, maybe, pick up another couple conference wins, go to, again, an Arizona, a New Mexico, or, again, one of the lower end, the Idaho Potato Bowl. Again, that's just – you can almost predict the future of this Cowboy team going forward where do you really need to show up to those games? Is it something to get excited for, to buy season tickets right now where, again, you know what this team is made of, that, again, it's going to be about 500 ball, a lower end bowl game, and that's about it. Nothing's going to shock you. Nothing's going to surprise you. Don't anticipate that this team's winning the Mountain West Conference title next year. I think we can comfortably say that as we've had 10 years now of data in front of us of how this Cowboy team is being operated under Craig Bull.
I would say the litmus test was well developed many, many years ago. All right, I do want to do this before we head to the break. And again, we have Lindsey Forbes joining us coming up. She's the head coach of the Lady Hornets of Pine Bluff, so we get all our coaches finally.
Yeah, I know that Wednesday's kind of specific of pro and looking at UW or kind of at least D1 programs. But again, we haven't had a chance to talk with Lindsey Forbes. Again, they had that chance to talk with her today, so very fortunate. As yes, we will talk with all of our high school coaches on the boys and girls side. Again, Lindsey was the last one, so we'll talk about her team, recap the weekend that was out in Burns. So looking forward to our conversation with her. Again, Pine Bluffs Lady Hornets head coach. Don't know where you were going to head to.
I was going to head to yesterday's election of the Hall of Fame. Only one. And again, I snubbed the writers, the baseball writers of America. Scott Rowland, good baseball player. I think career 280 hitter. Best years were with Philadelphia. Had a couple of good seasons with St. Louis. Again, traveled around.
I think more of his better seasons, or at least memorable, were probably with St. Louis.
Well, again, Philly. He traveled Philly, St. Louis, Toronto, and then wrapped up with Cincinnati.
St. Louis was probably his most memorable years.
Yeah,
though, but
got a World Series championship. Again, where, and you and me have had this discussion for years, and going back and forth, and Todd Helton made the biggest jump yesterday amongst the writers' voters, where
as he would.
About
same
20%.
of situation of Larry Walker again made that. Yeah,
but my point is, if the Coors Field numbers are going to come back and haunt Todd Helton,
which they are,
and he played with only one team in his career, the Rockies,
yeah,
where Scott Rowland was a journeyman with 4 different, I think 18 years he was in the major. I just don't know how this Hall of Fame voting even is legit anymore. I don't believe in it.
I've said that for years now.
Todd Helton definitely had better track record numbers, except for a World Series, than Scott Rowland. How in the hell?
Todd Helton made it to a World Series but did not win it.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm just saying again, for the Hall of Fame on the baseball side, it's the biggest joke right now. And again, those riders are a prime example of what is causing it to be a joke. Again, this year, where in years past we kept an eye on the ballot, this year I could care less. I'm at that point where, again, the riders have kind of irked me off, at least enough where, again, I don't care. Again, the Hall of Fame is a joke at this point in time. The riders make it absolutely just who cares? I think plain and simple it is that phrase of who cares gets voted into the Baseball Hall of Fame right now because, again, it's an absolute joke. And, again, it stems with – and, again, it's personal effect. But, again, you're starting to see that outcry. And, again, from players as well, too, that are saying, hey, we still can't get Bonds in. We can't figure this situation out with Bonds, Clemens, all these guys. Yes, we know the steroid era happened. We know what's going on. You can't disrespect
Pete Rose gambling.
Pete Rose as well, too. I think that's one of the biggest subs where, again, you got to get over that. Figure out something. These guys absolutely deserve it, especially Pete Rose. Again, the gambling situation, ridiculous. That again, they can't get him in. But it is something that writers, these baseball writers, continue to make a mockery of the Hall of Fame. They play their own politics. They stand on their high horses, and I think fans, and you're starting to see players of old and young and current MLB superstars that are coming out and saying, what's going on here?
Well, and here's a good case in point, and I'm glad Gabe brought that up. Whether it's the old line veteran reporters or baseball writers or the new or in-betweeners, I don't know who are the cogs in the wheel. But you go back in time, and I'm going to pick on Pete Rose because, again, I really enjoy the Baseball Network because, again, if you want to see the complete Pete Rose resume, watch the Baseball Network. You want to watch the Barry Bonds resume. You want to watch the Roger Clemens resume. You understand. But it's ironic that you go back into the 50s with the Yankees, okay? And they're winning championships. Let's not throw anything bad against the Yankee teams of the 50s. But you're looking at guys like Mickey Mantle. You're looking at guys like Whitey Ford, Billy Martin. These guys are out carousing just about every night, getting liquored up, breaking team rules, whatever the case may be, and yet they sail through to get into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Yogi Berra. You look at today's baseball, or those that are waiting to get into the Hall. And again, I do have a problem with Alex Rodriguez getting in, but his numbers bear out that he should be in.
Yeah, without a doubt, him.
But he's going to have
McGuire.
Yeah, he's not so much McGuire.
I think McGuire absolutely should be a Hall of Famer. Same with, again, clearly Bonds, clearly Clemens, A-Rod, absolutely. But again, what holds him back is, again, those steroid kind of busts on him. Baseball is not the only sport, in my honest opinion, that, again, has had a stint with steroids. Again, you don't think that there are football players that
Lyle Alzado comes to mind right away.
Again, you look at the NFL Hall of Fame. There's probably players within that cheated, did steroids, or did whatever, didn't get caught, or within it. We just don't know of it. Again, it's something that every year that this comes around, again, we look at the ballots, and again, it's something that, whether the writers put it out or, again, that finding is out there on social media of, again, who voted how and what way. I'm at the point, and it seems like a lot of other fans right now, this is the last thing on your mind right now and who cares? Well, it doesn't have that special feeling because, again, these writers, these voters taint it.
Yeah, well, again, look at Pete Rose. Let's go to him. Part of the Big Red Machine, part of the Wheeze Kids in Philadelphia. Again, you look at what Pete Rose accomplished, and I'm sure he didn't slip Eric Shaw of the San Diego Padres a 50 to give him that extra hit to become the all-time hits leader at Riverfront Stadium back in Cincinnati. Pete Rose was a hard-nosed baseball player, did things that ordinary players don't do today. And again,
that we don't know of.
Well, but I'm talking about on the field. The guy played third base. The guy played outfield.
I mean, again, we talk about a gambling scandal with Pete Rose, but again, look back a couple seasons ago with the Houston Astros, where again
they cheated.
They plain and simple cheated. Again, they were stealing signs.
But again,
so again, there are teams. Even again, you look to Pete Rose back in his day, back again, 70s, 80s, around that time frame, where again, it's still happening here in 2020. That again, teams, players are finding that wedge, find that way to, again, get to the promised land and win that championship.
But again, you look at what Pete Rose accomplished from his days at Crosley Field, Riverfront Stadium, across the National League. And again, World Series champion. And again, every position they asked Pete Rose to play, he excelled at all of these positions and still maintained that hitting prowess, that he is the all-time hits leader. So again, there might be folks out there saying, he cheated. He gambled on his own team. Okay? There you go.
You can't tell me that in this day and age.
I know, but what did he do what did he do between the lines when he was a player? That's my question. Same with Bonds.
He was a Hall of Famer.
Same with Bonds. Same with Clemens.
Yeah.
And again, correct me if I'm wrong, too, on both Bonds and Clemens. Never proven. Right?
Yeah, again, never proven, names brought up. But again, we go back to the infamous case regarding Barry Bonds, where again he was acquitted. Again, he was named. Everyone suggested that he did, but again, it was never proven at least in that case. So
I mean, Alex Rodriguez is the only one that I know that went to the podium. Again, that has has Hall of Fame numbers. Went to the podium and said, "I did it," and basically was. I'm sorry. And again, I think
Palmeiro again got at least nicked on that one. Again, A-Rod, again, with the Clemens situation, if I remember correctly, again, I think he was named. Again, it looked like, I don't know I can't remember if he got acquitted, but again, Barry Bonds was the most infamous one, where again it was everyone thought for sure that he did, and again in the court of law, he was again not so much I guess proven innocent, but again, the case was tossed out.
Here's the deal with Scott Rowland, and again, congratulations, Scott Rowland. I think it's a great deal that you're into the Hall of Fame. But let's look at just real quick here, because I know we got to move on. But I got his numbers here, Nick. In his career, he had about 281. Let's see how many total hits he had. He had 2,077 total hits. So again, when you make the 3,000 club, that usually is automatic entrance into the Hall. So he's almost 1,000 hits short of that. It was a pretty good fielder. We'll give him that.
Yeah.
Not a big home run hitter, similar to Todd Helton. Todd Helton made his living off doubles. Todd Helton has 500 more career hits in his time and again, only played with one team, the Rockies.
Which, again, is the thing that is dinging him of, again, you play with the Rockies, you played at Mile High, and, again, we know that ballpark dimension at Coors Field. That,
but
again,
his numbers were good on the road, too, that they bore out.
But I'm just saying, again, we knew this as we were getting to that point that, again, Todd Helton was going to get knocked for the Coors Field situation and playing for the Rockies, and here it is. Here's the prime example. He is getting additional votes at least this year, but, again, Todd Helton, will he make it to the Hall of Fame? Yeah, I think it will be a similar situation to what Larry Walker went through, where, again, you see the climb, year in and year out, to get to that push, to get him over that threshold, to get into the Hall of Fame. Again, we look back to about 4 years ago, where I came on again, the other program and said, hey, Todd Helton's not a first ballot Hall of Famer. We know that. He's going to get dinged. It's going to take some time. He will get in, but, again, when he does, that's kind of up in the air. I think Todd Helton also, too, benefits from the fact that, again, a lot of these voters who stand on their soapboxes right now are avoiding some of the big names that are on these ballots, again, for whatever reason that may be, again, especially regarding the steroid situation. But, again, I think Todd Helton, same with Larry Walker, benefiting that these votes are now going away from A-Rod, or going away from Clemens, from Barry Bonds, and now let's take a look at Scott Rowland. Let's take a look at Todd Helton. Let's take a look at Larry Walker. Again, in my opinion, Larry Walker, was he a Hall of Famer? Fringe, maybe? Scott Rowland, is he a Hall of Famer?
Fringe. Fringe.
Not really, but okay.
I mean,
I'm not hurt by it.
They even threw Jeff Kent's name out there. Jeff Kent.
I think Jeff Kent could be.
No, he
fringe.
was fringe. He was a fringe.
Good years with the Giants, and again with the Dodgers.
Yeah, but again, I go Todd Helton. Only one team he ever played for. His numbers on the road, were probably a little less than Coors Field. But also, too, you go back. I'm just going to pull out a year here. Here's Todd Helton, 2001. Played in 159 games. All right, so he's in his fifth season with the Rockies. His fifth season with the Rockies. 159 games out of a 162-game season. Came to the plate 587. That's a total at bats. Scored 132 runs, 197 hits, hit 49 home runs that year, and had 104 RBIs. And as a matter of fact, the year before that, in 2000, he had 216 hits in less at bats, 580 total at bats. I mean, these are Hall of Fame numbers.
Yeah, without a doubt. But again, these riders outside of the Rocky Mountain region, are going to ding him for the Coors Field situation, which is absolutely a bogus excuse regarding Todd Helton. Again, he was a solid player. You can't knock him for, again, what is elevation for what it does here with the baseball. Again, it takes talent. Plain and simple, it took talent to hit at least make contact with that ball. Get that power to get it out of Coors Field. And as you said, again, he did it away from Coors Field, which also, too, kind of bolsters the fact that, yes, he is a Hall of Famer. Again, I have no issue with Todd Helton. It's more so, again, these riders who tank this Hall of Fame, for whatever reason, drag their heels and make a showcase, make a circus out of it and go, yeah, not this year, Todd Helton. Again, Todd Helton should he have been a first ballot Hall of Famer? Yeah, I think so.
You go back to, Clemens. And this is where Todd Helton, we're just talking about what he did at the plate. The guy was a heck of a gold glover.
Yeah.
And then you look at guys like Clemens. Well, we talk about wins. But let's talk about the Ks that Clemens had. And then you look at guys like Bonds. Bonds, great hitter. And he started out as a good hitter in Pittsburgh.
Bonds was a gold glover in the left field, too.
And that's it. He was also a great glove man as well. So, again, I can't understand how these riders are. And, again, I go back to Pete Rose. Pete Rose, all-time hits leader, but look what they could plug him into any position. Talk about a utility player, plug him into any position, and he was just as good as the player that was there before.
In this day and age of, again, wokeness on the political spectrum side where, again, it has that feeling right now with these riders, and, again, not all of them, but, again, a good majority of them that, again, plain and simple, get on their soapbox, think they're doing their due diligence for baseball, where, again, fans and players are kind of revolting and going, you don't know what's best for baseball. You don't know what you're talking about when you vote against these guys. This is, again, unfair, and you're making a mockery of the Hall of Fame. I think it's gotten at that point where, again, look at the coverage of this Hall of Fame voting for this year. I feel, again, I didn't hear anything. I didn't see anything regarding of it. I saw a few ballots being exposed on social media, but outside of that, it kind of just went in the way in the breeze where no one cares. Again, I think that's the point with me, and it feels like that as well, too, with a few others, that the Hall of Fame for Major League Baseball, for Cooperstown,
it's a joke.
It's a joke, yeah. It's no longer special.
And you know what's funny between you and myself, and we need to get into the top of the hour. What's funny between you and myself, 33 years difference, age.
Yeah.
We very rarely agree on stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And here's a situation that I'm from that older era. You're from the younger era. And again, we both agree. So when is baseball going to get it? Obviously, Manfred doesn't because he's a moron.
Manfred needs to go,
He's a total moron. And the only commissioner that I ever had respect for that was in there, and he was in for a short period of time, was Peter Ueberroth. That is the only guy I ever had respect for. All these other commissioners since, and again, I came up through Bowie Kuhn all the way through. I've had no respect for any of them.
It's weird to think that Bud Selig was better for baseball than what Manfred's doing right now.
And he was a joke as far as I'm concerned. We lost the World Series because of Bud Selig. All right, we're going to take a break. Come back. Lindsey Forbes joins us from Pine Bluffs High School. We're back after these words right here in 1480 K-Ray.
We are the key to your cleaning success. The Key People that provides affordable office and professional cleaning services for over 40 years with exceptional customer care. All of our contractors have background checks and are licensed and bonded. We guarantee you a safe and secure service that is tailored to your individual and business needs. The Key People do not impose year-long contracts, and all quotes are free, confidential, and personalized. Call Key People at 1-800-468-8283 That's 1-800-468-8283.
For almost 60 years, 1480 K-Ray has been Cheyenne's home for good times and great oldies. Add to that live play-by-play sports featuring high school football and basketball, along with LCCC men's and women's basketball. Now combo that with KYOY FM and you have Cheyenne and the area's only locally owned AM and FM radio stations. But we don't stop there. We also have 2 FM translators which serve the area with programming from both K-Ray and KYOY. And that equals a lot of bang for your advertising dollar. Radio yesterday and now today, along with our websites, web streams, and digital ventures makes us your one-stop shop. For more information, please call Larry Proietti at 307-637-0301.
How would you like to get high-speed internet for your home for less than $2 a day? That's right. For about $50 a month, you'll get lightning-fast internet. Are you paying less than $50 a month right now for your internet? Then call Whole Home Connect right now for blazing fast internet at $50 a month with no price increases, no hidden fees, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees. It's a great deal. And guess what? You can try it for 15 days. If you don't like it, you get your money back. But you're going to love it, and you're going to love the price. Internet for your home for $50 a month. That's less than $2 a day. Plus, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees, and our 15-day guarantee. Call now. 800-245-1537. 800-245-1537. 800-245-1537. That's 800-245-1537.
For over 30 years and still delivering the results you expect is Shine Auto Repair and Service. Hi, this is Larry Proietti again for Cars in downtown Cheyenne, reminding you that John and his staff are there to take care of your vehicle's woes. From oil change and replacing windshield wipers to digging deep into fixing your heating and air conditioning unit or fixing your brakes and shocks. You can depend on Shine Auto Repair and Service for taking care of most minor repairs. And most importantly, John is a TechNet professional, which means he is one of the best nationally when it comes to getting your car or truck back on the road as soon as possible. Check him out online at technetprofessional.com. Don't wait until the last minute. Have your vehicle serviced by one of the best in Cheyenne. Shine Auto Repair and Service at 604 West Lincoln Way. Call for an appointment at 632-0498. That's 307-632-0498. Open Monday through Friday.
Check out the huge savings this week at Town & Country Supermarket Liquors. Here are just a few of the terrific weekly specials. It's your one-stop to shop for these super radio buys heard only right here. Reina de la Muerte Blanco Tequila, 750 milliliter bottle, $39.99. Tecate or Tecate Light, 12-pack, 12-ounce cans, $12.99. And Tanqueray Orange Seville Gin, 750 milliliter bottle, $19.99. Town & Country Supermarket Liquors on the South Greeley Highway, Cheyenne's low-price leader.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 K-Ray.
Otherwise, for today, partly to mostly cloudy. Expected daytime high near 26 with a slight chance of snow developing this afternoon. For tonight, it's going to be partly cloudy and blustery with patchy blowing snow or low down to 19 degrees. Tomorrow, Thursday, partly to mostly cloudy and windy. We're looking for a daytime high near 32. And for Thursday night, mostly cloudy and windy or low down to 22 degrees.
This is 1480 KRAE Cheyenne.
Right now on 1480 K-Ray, it's time for the Pro Show, featuring the only father and son sports talk show talking about the local sports scene as we take a look back and look ahead to upcoming events around our area. The Pro Show is on now, right here on 1480 K-Ray. And we welcome you back to the Pro Show. I'm Larry Proietti, along with Nick Proietti, and we bring on our next guest. She is the head coach of the Lady Hornets over in Pine Bluffs, Lindsey Forbes. And Lindsey, we had a chance to call your game this past Saturday against the Lady Broncs of Burns. A tough loss, but again, some positives came out of that, just the way your Lady Hornets rallied back, again, 52-48. I'm just amazed at what you have to work with this season. You got a roster of some that have been with you, and you got half of the roster that are freshmen. Kind of it's kind of a mixed bag for you, trying to bring everybody along and working together.
Yeah, it is for sure. You know, game against Burns on Saturday was exactly what we thought it would be. You know, they pressure us, and I had said if we can limit our turnovers and handle the pressure, we could stand a chance. And we dug ourselves a little bit of a hole. But the kids did rally and fought back, and we even closed the gap enough that we had an opportunity to, we were in the ball game. We do have 6 freshmen on our roster, like you said, and so we're trying to bring our freshmen along as quick as possible, because they're down the stretch. They're going to play a key role for us. So.
Let's talk about that fourth quarter of that Saturday contest against Burns, where, again, your Lady Hornets really surged and, again, got that team back within it. Again, we saw with Burns Lady Broncs having about a 10-point advantage there in the fourth quarter, really diminished to a point in time where, again, towards the tail end of that fourth quarter, again, got as close as 2 points within at least tying up the ball game. Talk about that fourth quarter surge by your team and just what you saw. What kind of impressed you about your Lady Hornets at Saturday night?
Well, they never quit. Like I said, we dug ourselves a hole. We went 6 minutes in the third, or 5 minutes without scoring, and you can't do that against good teams. But we got some stops. We got Burns to shoot it early in their possession, and probably not the shots they wanted. We converted on them. Kenna Tureen came in off the bench and hit a big 3. So we hit some free throws down the stretch. So the kids just played hard, and they weren't worried about the scoreboard. They were just playing hard and kind of found another gear there. And so we just want to keep building on it, and hopefully that'll create a little confidence too for them.
A couple of kids come to mind. Abby Gray, who's like the senior leader on there, Kelsey Beimer, but also Jessica Hoffman. I know those 3 kids, when they're on the floor, kind of make your job a lot easier. You just got to find 2 working parts. I know Reese tries to come in a little bit and help out. But if you can get all 5 cogs working together, this is a pretty doggone good team.
And like you said, Abby's a senior. She's been with me. Nobody's going to work harder than Abby is. Kelsey's doing a good job, and she's shooting the ball pretty well. Jessica is just hard to handle on the post. She's big. She's athletic. And so, if we can just, continue to grow these freshmen, Reese, Hattie, Kenna, Avery Sweeter, we've got some freshmen with some ability. So if we can put these pieces together down the stretch, I think that we'll surprise some teams.
It's interesting, and I'm glad you mentioned like Avery as she came in to spell Jessica. But you've got Abby Warner, who's 6'1", Jessica is 6 foot, and again Avery's going to probably be 6 foot by next season. Is there that possibility that all 3 of them could be on the floor and be significant contributors for you?
Sure. Abby's come a long ways already this season. Abby Warner, she's
I saw her in the JV contest. Yeah.
She's come a long way. So if she continues to work and can do some off-season work as well, absolutely. There's no reason that her and Jessie and Sweeter, all 3 could be on the floor at the same time next year. And boy, we'd be big then.
Coach, I want to go back a couple months ago when you were setting up this team, preparing for the upcoming season, getting prepared for non-conference action. As you head in, and again, you saw the amount of players you had coming back. Again, you saw who was coming out and attending your open gyms. Right now, as it stands, 5-11, 0-1 in conference play. What were expectations of this team where we talk about kind of a lot of youth being a part of the Lady Hornets? What were your expectations as now we head into, again, kind of heated conference action and look towards that regional tournament?
Sure. Well, we really thought there'd be a chance going into our Christmas break that we could be 0-8, to be honest with you. We had a tough schedule. We knew that. We weren't going to measure anything by wins and losses. We wanted to get to January and get into, some of these games that we could compete. And again, we're still at this point in the season. It's coming down to the time that every game matters and wins and losses are important. But big picture here is we still just want to get better every time we step on the floor, every time the kids are in the gym. So our goal is to just get as much playing time as we can and see how it turns out.
You know, Lindsey, you got about 5 weeks here before we get into postseason. Let's talk about what you expect this team to accomplish. Because, again, and we go back to the old saying, it's not how you're playing now. It's how you're playing at the end of February, leading into March. So let's take a look at what you need these young ladies to do to become successful. Obviously, I'm looking at a little better outside shooting, breaking the press, and then getting that ball into Hoffman underneath.
Well, and that's our key, and the kids are starting to understand as long as the offense goes through our bigs' hands first, that good things are going to happen. So we're trying to get the ball inside as much as we can. We have to limit our turnovers on the press, and then defensively, I need. It doesn't matter what you can bring offensively. If you're in the game, you got to play defense, and so that's kind of our mindset. We do have a couple of kids who can shoot the ball, just maybe struggling to find their rhythm. So that's something that we're going to be working on too. But as long as we can do these things, like I said, I think we'll surprise some teams down the stretch. So.
Coach, as we get ready, and again, you already had your first taste of quadrant play, and again, at least regarding the Eastern Conference, here in Class 2A, let's kind of get your thoughts and opinions on things as, again, we got a good sample size of all teams here in Class 2A on the east side. Again, we look up to the Northeast, Tongue River, 9-3, 2-0, Sundance, 8-6, 2-0, and the Southeast Quadrant, the top dog team right now is Lingo Fort Laramie at 9-4 and 1-0. Is 2A shaping up as you thought it would, or are there teams that, especially in this Eastern Conference, have come up and kind of surprised you so far?
I think it's mostly shaping up the way I thought it would. I think that from the north side, I think Wright's going to surprise some teams. They played Tongue River. It's been a 4-point game last weekend. To be honest with you, I don't see anybody really standing out. I think on any given day, any team could beat anybody. So I think it's going to be very interesting the deeper we get here.
Coach Lindsey Forbes joining us here, the Lady Hornets head coach. And, Coach, thank you again for letting us bring the game this past weekend, and looking forward to catching up with the Lady Hornets right here. I do believe
we'll have them in Pine.
Yeah, towards the tail end of the season. So, again, thank you again, Coach.
Yep, thanks for having me.
All right, Lindsey Forbes joining us here on 1480 K-Ray. Hey, got to take a break as we are into hour number 2 of the Pro Show. I'm Larry Proietti. He's Nick Proietti. We're back after these words.
1480 K-Ray is your home for live play-by-play coverage of high school basketball and football. To hear all the play-by-play calls of East, Central, and South football and basketball. You'll hear the conference action along with the postseason, and during the basketball season, 1480 K-Ray features both boys and girls games. Catch all the exciting calls on AM 1480 K-Ray, also streaming the games worldwide on the web at 1480KRay.com.
The next time you have a craving for authentic Mexican cuisine, visit Hacienda Guadalajara at 317 East Lincoln Way. Locally owned and operated, they serve their dishes with family tried and true recipes with the freshest of ingredients, made to order. Start off your meal with their complimentary chips, salsa, and bean dip. And if you're feeling adventurous, enjoy your favorite margarita or cerveza. Hacienda Guadalajara, where the spice is always nice.
For nearly 30 years, family-owned and operated Lennox Auto Body, along with the Auto Glass and Detail Center, has been serving our community with quality and customer satisfaction. It's a pretty simple drill. When you want it done right the first time, call Lennox Auto Body for an appointment at 307-634-6608. Lennox Auto Body at 1020 Dunn Avenue. And the Auto Glass and Detail Center. Remember, it's not clean until it's Lennox clean at 617 East Pershing Boulevard.
Lennox Auto Body. No shortcuts, no compromise.
Do you have Medicare and do you use a CPAP machine? This is a national healthcare alert regarding your CPAP supplies. Using a clean CPAP mask and clean supplies is important to staying healthy. The best way to make sure your CPAP equipment is clean is to get new supplies. If you have Medicare, we have great news. Medicare will pay for you to have new clean supplies every 90 days. We'll even do all the paperwork for you to make sure that there's little to no out-of-pocket cost to you. And you don't even have to leave your home. We provide free in-home delivery. So if you're a CPAP user and you have Medicare, staying healthy with new CPAP equipment is easy. Just make this free phone call right now to get started.
Sponsored by Specialty Medical. 800-245-3098. 800-245-3098. 800-245-3098. That's 800-245-3098. How would you like to get high-speed internet for your home for less than $2 a day? That's right. For about $50 a month, you'll get lightning fast internet. Are you paying less than $50 a month right now for your internet? Then call Whole Home Connect right now for blazing fast internet at $50 a month with no price increases, no hidden fees, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees. It's a great deal. And guess what? You can try it for 15 days. If you don't like it, you get your money back. But you're going to love it, and you're going to love the price. Internet for your home for $50 a month. That's less than $2 a day. Plus, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees, and our 15-day guarantee. Call now. 800-245-1537. 800-245-1537. 800-245-1537. That's 800-245-1537.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 K-Ray.
Otherwise, for today, partly to mostly cloudy. Expected daytime high near 26 with a slight chance of snow developing this afternoon. For tonight, it's going to be partly cloudy and blustery with patchy blowing snow or low down to 19 degrees. Tomorrow, Thursday, partly to mostly cloudy and windy. We're looking for a daytime high near 32. And for Thursday night, mostly cloudy and windy or low down to 22 degrees. We welcome you back to the Pro Show. I'm glad that you had that promo announcement out of the break there, Nick, because that reminds me to remind everyone and you as well. Tomorrow we will be at Historic Story Gymnasium, Hoops, East Central in Eastern Conference action, and
or at least more appropriately in the Southeast Quadrant. Again, this is the old school rivalry. Again, this on both the girls and boys has a lot of weight to it here early on in the season. Again, they still will meet later on there at Story Gymnasium. Central is the host team this time around, but again, East eventually will be the host team. But again, neutral side at Story. But this early on has a lot of weight where again you get a good idea on the girls' side. Again, can East continue the momentum? Is East really that best team in Class 4A? On the boys' side, again, as we talked about it yesterday, it's a coin flip of can it be the Indians? Can it be the Thunderbirds? Who knows? I give the slight edge to the Cheyenne Central Indians just for the fact of, again, as we broke it down on yesterday's show. But you got two games that have a lot of weight regarding standings, even though, again, we're weeks away, but still hold a lot of weight towards that regional tournament up in Casper.
I was kind of chuckling to myself because over the last 4 years, I've been at Story twice, and I did South and East here a couple of years ago. And the last time I did an East Central game, I was on the floor. A good friend of ours, Wayne Welk, was joining me, and a fight broke out. Yeah. And matter of fact, I had that chance to talk with Xavier McCord, and of course his brother Demetrius. They were involved in that little brouhaha that happened on the floor during East Central. But it's been a long time since we've been on the floor, getting a chance to do a game over at Story Gymnasium.
As for tomorrow, again, it'll be live here on 1480 AM, 101.1 FM, 1480KRay.com on the audio side. Video live streaming as we do on the 1480 Carry YouTube channel. Again, as you're noticing today's show, and again for tomorrow, at least with the ball games, again, girls and boys action 6 and 7:30. Tentative tap times there live from Story Gymnasium. We did get the audio, at least the new mixer board in. So again, audio will be a lot crisper than it's been for the past couple of days. So again, at least we have that positive. So again, tune over on the YouTube side, 1480 K-Ray's YouTube channel. Give us a subscribe, give us a like on our videos. We appreciate that. So again, looking forward to it. East Central tomorrow night, live from Story, 6 and 7:30. At least girls up first, boys up second.
So to all my bill collectors, just so you know, I have been investing and reinvesting my cash back into updating our equipment. So are we now totally 21st century?
I would say so. We have been. Again, it's just.
I mean, this thing is breaking me here, pal. I'm poor. All right, let's take a look at football playoffs. And again, you take a look at what we saw this past weekend, and
everything went to how I predicted
I
it.
lost
again.
one.
Yeah.
But again, you look at the American Football Conference and the brand of quarterback, and he's the veteran of the group. That would be Patrick Mahomes. But you look at Trevor Lawrence, you look at Josh Allen, you look at Joe Burrow, the new breed of quarterback, fresh, a couple 3 years out of college. And again, these young...
That's up to Josh Allen. He's been there for,
again, 4 or 5 years. Well, my point is these guys are into their mid, maybe late 20s, if that. But these guys are just setting the world on fire as far as what they're doing at that quarterback position. Now you look over...
You say that again, where Josh Allen, though, on the Bills side, is getting a lot of flack for his play at home, nonetheless, in elements that should favor Buffalo, elements that he played here in Laramie with the Wyoming Cowboys. You talk about, again, the elevated play or the talent that's in. And again, not going to knock Josh Allen. Again, I think it speaks of in the regular season of what he's able to do. But it comes to the playoffs, he still has yet to prove himself as kind of putting himself in that elite quarterback class as a Patrick Mahomes or, again, now Joe Burrow, who has been to the Super Bowl. Again, Josh Allen, it seems like, still can't get that brass ring and get to the next level or bring the Bills to that promised land, which is getting back to the Super Bowl.
To the Bills Mafia, if you're going to whine about this, I understand. And Joe Burrow performed better than Josh Allen in elements that nobody should have been playing football. I mean, this is like the old 1950s.
And again, last week we talked about this where the elements were going to be in effect. But again, it's not going to affect Cincinnati without a doubt. They play in similar out there in Ohio. It's something that, again, Cincinnati, as we broke down that game last year, or at least last week, I should say, for Cincinnati versus Buffalo, even in Buffalo, Cincinnati is the better team. Sorry, it was kind of the reality, and it showed on that field on Sunday that, again, the Cincinnati Bengals, who have been there, done it, they know what it takes to get to that next step. We're going to do it on the road.
Yeah.
And they did it. And again, they did it in a dominating fashion.
And do you think Cincinnati's got the muscle to stop Patrick? And again, Patrick Mahomes a little beat up heading into this contest. It's at Arrowhead. So, I mean, let's be real honest. Is there a very good possibility that Cincinnati goes back to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I think with the Patrick Mahomes injury for this AFC Championship game, I think plain and simple that is the big difference maker of him being injured. Again, Patrick Mahomes, who loves to at least be a little mobile quarterback from time to time. Again, he uses his legs. It's a big difference maker with him picking up the injury. Looking at, again, that AFC Championship game, which will be game number 2 on Sunday, again, 4:30 kickoff time here in the Mountain Time Zone. Chiefs at home hosting Cincinnati. Cincinnati is favored by a point in this one, rightfully so. And I think the difference is that injury to Patrick Mahomes.
And this is ironic for me because being a 49er fan all my life and just went absolutely bonkers. Super Bowl 16, which was in Detroit back, 83 or so. And I sit here and look at, and that's Cincinnati's first Super Bowl under Forrest Gregg when he was the head coach. Bill Walsh was the head coach of the 49ers. A very good possibility these teams could be meeting for the third time in the Super Bowl, and with the Niners holding a 2 advantage. But, yeah, I think back to the Pontiac Silverdome where the 49ers captured their first Super Bowl. Let's
49ers, at least we'll get into, again, them in the NFC Championship game with the Philadelphia Eagles, where, again, 49ers have a big step to get past, or at least they got a tougher road ahead compared to Cincinnati. But
do we want to go Cincinnati? Because I don't think there's much more to say. I think Joe Burrow pretty much has proven himself just to be as effective as Patrick Mahomes. And what I like about Burrow, what he showed me in the Buffalo game, he's not afraid to tuck it himself.
There's 2 teams that, again, took big-time losses now, bring up a lot of questions. It is Dallas, it is Buffalo, and especially with the Buffalo Bills that had high expectations, high hopes this season. Everything was going in their favor of again,
distraction, too.
But I'm just, again, with the Hamlin situation, that was something to rally around. And, again, you saw that at the tail end of the season, but still, though, even with the Hamlin situation, it's something that Buffalo had high expectations, high hopes. They were expected to be in the Super Bowl, and you failed in the divisional round and again, nothing against Cincinnati. I still stand. They are the best, at least the better team in that matchup. I think they're the better team right now against the Kansas City Chiefs. But Buffalo right now, with Josh Allen at the helm, it kind of brings up a lot of questions of what do you do if you're the Buffalo Bills and not say anything drastic.
They got to get a running
I'm just
game.
saying it's nothing drastic of, you got to move on from Josh Allen. I don't think that's going to be the case, but you got to figure out something that right now it seemed like Buffalo had every position filled out and figured out that, again, this was that team
Except
and still not
back.
done it yet.
They're weak at the running back.
Yeah.
And
Josh Allen, though, again, even going back to that game, we talked about it last week, and it showed up on this Sunday's contest, the inconsistent throwing.
Well,
The passing, at least game by Josh Allen is still suspect.
Well, and again, Josh Allen tried to put too much of the world on his shoulders. There's nothing wrong with what Josh Allen did, but the point is, kind of abandoned some of the game plan. And some of that game plan is it's a weak running back. Nothing against those that carry the football there, but the offensive line does not provide big holes for running. Josh Allen, as again we saw in Wyoming, Mr. Ad-Libber, he's the one who gets all these extra yards on his own. It's not with the help of this offensive line. Throwing the football, yeah, he was inconsistent throwing the football. I just think, again, he tried to put too much of the world on his back, and, that came back to bite him. But the defense didn't help him either. The defense was, again, Joe Burrow just chewed up that defense. Mixon, along with Burrow, they had no problems. Again, what Cincinnati did was what Buffalo couldn't do. They mixed the run with the pass. You want to be successful, you got both elements working, that usually is a W.
Yeah, well, either way, though, again, Buffalo finds themselves exiting early again in the playoffs. Still can't get into that promised land. Again, it brings up a lot of question marks there with the Buffalo Bills of what do they do in the offseason. Cincinnati, as I thought, again, would win that game. They did. Now take on the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs, how they got to the AFC Championship. 7-point victory at home against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Surprised by how close that score was, but again, the Patrick Mahomes injury, I think, contributed a little bit to it. Again, gave Jacksonville a little bit of hope. Again, shocking of how close the Jags got it. I figured that Jags were going to just roll over and die in this contest, that Kansas City was just miles ahead of them. But give credit to Jacksonville. They got a lot to develop for next season, without a doubt. Kansas City, they limp into the AFC Championship game. If you're a Chiefs fan, you should be worried, because I think Cincinnati is going to expose the team with an injured Patrick Mahomes, who right now, again, that ankle, that was a ugly injury, and he's clearly not going to be anywhere close to 100% for this game.
No, but it's a championship, and somehow that injection of adrenaline. Again, Patrick Mahomes, he's a player. I don't foresee him not playing in this contest. I will say this though, and I think most fans will agree, whether you are a Dallas fan or a New York Giants fan. I think the Final Four pretty much is what we all thought it was going to be.
The only team
Kansas City, Cincinnati, Philadelphia, and the 49ers.
Yeah, the only change you could filter in there was, again, Buffalo over Cincinnati. But, again, I stood last week with Cincinnati. I, again, thought they were the better team, and they proved it. Yeah, I think the Final Four as it stands right now, again, yeah, that's kind of how, as we looked at the playoffs, how we looked at the tail end of the season, yeah, this is how it could have gone and should have gone, and it is as of right now.
Are you going with Cincinnati? Because that's kind of where I'm leaning.
Yeah, I think Cincinnati in the AFC Championship game, who, again, are favored on the road by a point as of right now. Yeah, I think the injury to Patrick Mahomes is the biggest difference maker. If Mahomes wasn't injured or didn't suffer that against Jacksonville, I'd go, yeah, Kansas City should win. But now I think Cincinnati has the slight edge, should win in a close one. That should be a fun one to watch out there at Arrowhead Stadium. Going over to the NFC, if that's where you're going to go, very quickly, we don't need to talk much about this. It was a battle of two NFC East teams. Eagles, I told you they were going to run roughshod against the New York Giants. Had a feeling 38-7. Giants, it was fun while it lasted. Congrats. You got something to build on for next season. But Philadelphia was the better team, clearly. And they look damn good.
And then you look at the 49ers win over Dallas. And I sat here last week and said, shut down the running game, which they did. They shut down the running game. It forced Dax to go out and run. And then after a while, guys like Bosa, Greenlaw, they started focusing on Prescott. and shut him down, forced him to do those intermediate passes, which he was constantly on the run. So the 49ers did exactly what they needed to do defensively.
The issue
D'Amico Ryan.
Yeah, the issue with the 49ers and the concern going into this NFC Championship game is more so the play of Brock Purdy, who looked phenomenal against Seattle. That is what it is against Seattle. Not all that impressive this season. Dallas, they're pretty decent. They're a pretty damn good team. I'll give them at least the respect that they deserve. But Brock Purdy, in that game against Dallas, you could tell there was some rookie moments that he had, some questionable throws, some questionable play calls as well, too. It gets me a little concerned for this NFC Championship game coming up again with the 49ers being on the road against the Philadelphia Eagles. But going back to that win over the Dallas Cowboys, what can you say, though, again, defense stepping up, a couple INTs against Dax. That defense is something to hang your hat on that I think will be a big difference maker to slow down that Philadelphia Eagles offense, and it should. But 49ers, if you're Philadelphia, there's definitely a lot on that film to look and try to expose both offense and defense wise against the 49ers. What was, again, going back to that divisional game at home, was not the best 49er game I've seen.
Here's where you're missing the point. Yeah, Purdy's going to make rookie mistakes. And he will against
Can't afford to get in the NFC Championship.
Against Philadelphia. But you got McCaffrey. You got Deebo Samuel. You got George Kittle. You got Ayuk.
Yeah, but even look at what Dallas did, though, to slow down Christian McCaffrey.
Let me finish that. You got many weapons offensively for the 49ers. Then you go to the defensive side. And one of the nice things about the 49ers defensively are healthy. They're healthy.
Yeah, they certainly are, which is definitely great news. Backfield still questionable. Still big plays are getting at least tossed up there. Again, we saw that with Prescott, again, exposing some of the backfield for the 49ers. That is a concern, especially with taking on Hurts upcoming. But again, you talk about all the offensive weapons for the 49ers. Again, Dallas found a way to slow down Christian McCaffrey. Brock Purdy, who had kind of questionable throws. Again, those weapons, whether it is Ayuk, whether it is Kittle, whether it is Deebo, again, they got to find a way to get that ball somehow from Brock Purdy. And if he makes some of those kind of rookie mistakes or rookie kind of play, at least passes, it concerns, and it could be the demise of the 49ers, which, again, hopefully it's not. But I don't think, again, what we saw, I think it was a situation for the 49ers where, again, that was their first real tough team that they've seen in quite some time. Again, you look at the end of the regular season, it was kind of cream puff NFC West team, and again, they kind of cruised on in. This was kind of that true test. Thankfully, they survived. Now it just gets even tougher with Philadelphia.
Right, here's what I see for the 49ers. Sanders, you got to stop. Okay? You shut Sanders down. I want Hurts to run. I really do, because it's going to be the same situation as Prescott. Yeah, he'll get a few yards, but I think
and that's where you hope that Bosa and, again, a few of those.
And the 49ers will make that adjustment at halftime. They make great adjustments. Let's give the 49ers their due. Second of all, I think Prescott is a better thrower than Hurts. That's my opinion. Hurts is okay. I think Prescott is a better thrower.
I think you can pick or choose, but again, who would I rather have on my team? I'd probably go Hurts if I choose the two. Yeah,
Hurts is a little more all around, but again, I think the throwing goes to Dak Prescott. So let's go that route. This is my opinion now.
Yeah, let's at least before we talk about the NFC Championship preview, which again that'll be the first game coming up this Sunday at 1 p.m. Live from Philadelphia, PA. But again, going back where again the Bills got the question marks right now heading into the offseason. I think Dallas is that team who got eliminated this past weekend. Is that team where
do you get rid of Mike McCarthy?
Is Mike McCarthy going away again? Do we find again? Do we got to find another quarterback for Prescott again? Is Ezekiel Elliott?
Yeah.
Again, there's a lot of questions that go with this Cowboys team. Where again, they also too had high expectations. Let's look back to the regular season for the Dallas Cowboys. They were up there with Philadelphia, if not had a couple times of being at least crowned as regular season just the best team in the NFC. They took a couple steps back, but again, Dallas, who had all this high hopes as well too, still can't make it to the NFC Championship game. They got through the longest drought. Yeah, again, it couldn't happen to a better franchise without a doubt, but Dallas right now, could we see them in the offseason basically just
Make a
sell
move
off the
after
farm?
who
Yeah.
knows?
Again, what is going to be the question with Prescott, who in back-to-back contests with the 49ers have exposed him as, again, he's not all that good. Or at least, again, when he plays the 49ers for whatever reason, he doesn't look all that good. Again, more interceptions this time around in the divisional contest. Again, this game on the road out in Santa Clara.
All right, here's the next question for you, too. Off-season question. Is Brock Purdy number one, or does Lance come back as number one?
It seems like, for all indication as of right now, that Brock Purdy's number one. Trey Lance is going to be behind him.
Number two.
Which I think is absolutely
and
fair.
Garoppolo's adios.
We'll see. Who knows? Again, this quarterback carousel that's going to happen.
He's done his contract. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think he's at the end of his 6-year deal.
But we saw the 49ers, again, get him back on, even though he was being used as trade bait. He's still back on with the 49ers for at least this past season. Again, who knows what San Francisco will do? Again, who knows what teams are going to go after him? Who knows where some of these vets that have moved on? Again, Aaron Rodgers, very quickly, he's announced that he wants to return. He doesn't want to go play for an NFC team. He wants to go to the AFC.
Right.
Tom Brady, it seems like he's not going back to Tampa.
He'll take anybody that offers him a contract, probably.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. Again, is Brock Purdy the number one?
Yeah, I think plain and simple, he's proven enough. Again, 8-0 as of right now as a starter. How could you hand Trey Lance back the position? There's also been talks here in the playoffs that Jimmy G should be healthy, possibly by this NFC Championship game. If not, if they make it to the Super Bowl, how in the hell could you go, Jimmy G, lead us to the promised land if you make it to the Super Bowl when you're healthy, when you got a red-hot guy that is Brock Purdy, even with the questionable rookie play that he had this past Sunday against the Dallas Cowboys. I think it was more so of, I show some concern, but it was something that he kept his composure and still found a way to get the victory over against a very tough NFC team in that divisional round.
If Jimmy G is off the IL, that's a great bullpen to go to. If again,
there are issues,
Yeah, and again, if Kyle Shanahan sees that Purdy is struggling and, doesn't want the game to get out of hand, you can always go to the veteran. But
if that's a possibility.
I don't think that's going to happen. As I look at the numbers right now, Philly is 2.5-point favorite. Usually when you're at home, you're a 3-point favorite. So a little bit of respect for the 49ers.
Which you got to. Again, they're the hottest team in the NFL right now.
Right now, 65% feel that the Philadelphia Eagles will win at Lincoln Financial Field. Again, what will weather come into play?
It's going to be cold, but it doesn't look like there's going to be any snow in the forecast.
And the 49ers have gone through the rain. They've gone through the dampness on the grass at Levi Stadium. So, again,
temperature difference, again, is going to be about 20,
30 degrees.
Somewhere in there. So, again, nothing drastic. But
hey, put on
and again, it is an afternoon game. So, again, it's at least kicking off at 1 o'clock Mountain Time, so 3 o'clock Eastern Time out there in Philadelphia. Again, obviously, with us being 49er fans, we're pulling for San Francisco. Do they have a legitimate shot of upending what has been the consistent and best team here in the NFC? Yes. And you look back to their presence here in the playoffs. You look back, again, this unbelievable run that they have done. Look at the weapons on offense and defense. Again, I think in this contest, Niners hold their hat on having the best. And it's not just in the NFC. It's the best in the NFL. The best defensive unit that is going to find a way to slow down Jalen Hurts. I think, again, that defensive line will find a way to get in that backfield. We'll find a way to, again, bring him down. And again, you saw that with Geno Smith. You saw it a little bit with Dak Prescott. They're going to find a way to flush him out and make him a little flustered.
And Philly's got a good defense, too. Let's not sell them short. The over-under in this one is 46.5.
I take the under.
I'm going to go under as well, too. I think both defenses are going to rise to the occasion. Will Purdy make a mistake? Absolutely. Will Jalen Hurts be able to romp through the Lincoln Financial Field against the 49ers? I don't believe so. Again, I think Dak Prescott is a better thrower than Hurts. So, for the 49ers, slow down Sanders, force Hurts to run. That'll be good. I think in the case of Purdy, this is your second game of the play, or your third game of the playoffs. You should
the butterflies have got to be gone.
You should shake off that rust and get in there and make better decisions. If Purdy makes better decisions, then the 49ers win.
these two quarterbacks as well, too, have seen each other in college ranks, again, with Purdy at Iowa State. Again, Jalen Hurts at Oklahoma. So, again, they know each other. They've been in those battles there in the Big 12. So, this kind of sets up at least a nice NFL rivalry. 49ers, again, confident, should win this game, or at least in my opinion as a 49er fan. Again, I think we're hopeful that the Niners will get past and move on to the Super Bowl once again. Again, look at this 49ers franchise in the recent couple seasons. They've been to Super Bowls. They've gotten they've kind of
they're 5-2 though.
It's been that franchise that again has floated on the radar and is not garnering a lot of respect. But again, of the body of work, they've been able to pick up some recent NFC championships and move on to that Super Bowl. Again, obviously the biggest step right now is picking up Super Bowl victory number 6 in franchise history.
Yeah,
but,
they need to get back. They need to prove themselves again because under Harbaugh they lost, Jim Harbaugh, and then they
Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, Kyle Shanahan. So again, you look back to those glory years, Bill Walsh, George Seifert. The 49ers need to reestablish themselves.
Again, let's look at this 49ers franchise where, again, last year they were, again, few plays away from making it to the Super Bowl then.
And they were beat up against the Rams.
Yeah,
so,
but again, it was still a close contest, and they still made it to this point, still had a shot at getting the Super Bowl, and were competitive in that game against the LA Rams. So, again, don't disrespect the 49ers. This is a team absolutely not to look over, again, even if it's on the road. 49ers prediction on this one, and again, I go Niners close, probably win by a field goal if I'm being conservative. And again, over under, you talk about 46.5. This might be a 14
or 13 score.
I'll take a 14-17 advantage 49ers. For the Super Bowl matchup, we talked about it last week. Again, still confident as it stands. Cincy 49ers. I think that's the pick.
And for me, looking at the under right now in this contest, I think Robbie Gould is going to be the factor. The veteran
he was against Dallas.
The veteran kicker is going to be the man who's going to hopefully kick the 49ers into the Super Bowl.
And how about the kicker for Dallas? Does he have a job now, or at least
he made his field goals.
Yeah.
He got back on the good side, though. I was looking here real quick, and this is just from ESPN, looking at some possible quarterback movement, as we were talking about. How about, and this is what they feel, Tom Brady to the Raiders, Derek Carr to the Texans. You're looking at Aaron Rodgers to the Colts?
Or the Jets have been tossed out as well, too. Again,
to the Colts?
Who knows? Who knows at this point? Again, this is all projections or rumors at this point. Again, it's just, talking heads trying to make a prediction.
And Lamar Jackson, where is he going to go?
Lamar, if I remember correctly, they were looking at him to go to Atlanta. So,
oh my,
we'll see. Again, like I said, this offseason is going to be very interesting to watch, especially on the quarterback situation of who goes where, who lands what. Again, Jimmy G as well too. Again, that's going to be something to keep an eye on in San Francisco. Again, will the Niners keep him? Will the Niners move on? Again, they've talked about trading him away for however many seasons, but still stick with him. So we shall see. Also, too, again, talk about the offseason. It's still ongoing down in Denver with the Broncos. Expected to make a decision here soon. They still haven't, but time is ticking very quickly.
The offseason is going to be more player-oriented than coach-oriented. You know what I mean? It's going to draw more attention.
It depends on where you are, because, again, here, at least in Bronco Nation, at least just down the road, again, they're set with Russell Wilson as a guy, which is just idiotic in my opinion. But, again, they're more focused on who's going to be the guy in charge of this team. Will it be Sean Payton or will it be someone else? That's to be determined right now. It doesn't seem like there's a clear standout favorite. And, again, still no announcement.
All right, we are going to take a break. This is the Pro Show. I'm Larry Proietti. He's Nick Proietti. We're back after these words.
17 years, and we're still striving to offer you the best value in a new vehicle. I'm AJ Miller here at Kia of Cheyenne. Come by and see the new 2023 Kia Sportage. 3 models and 7 trims available with powerful engine options, premium interiors, and on-demand tech features. Kia gives you more with an industry-leading warranty and roadside assistance from over 17,000 providers. Come into Kia of Cheyenne, call 775-0123 or go to KiaofCheyenne.com, and we'll make it easy.
Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
Capital Lumber is number one in Cheyenne. Are you listening? We're all the lumber store you'll ever need. For electrical, plumbing, paint, and tools, lumber and hardware, we're for you. And we're out to earn your business, yes indeed. Capital Lumber is lumber one today. Are you listening? Capital Lumber's at your service all the way.
Since 1966, Cheyenne and Laramie County has depended on and trusted family-owned and operated Capital Lumber Company for all your lumber and hardware needs at 1222 Dunn Avenue in Cheyenne.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
800-298-5783. 800-298-5783. 800-298-5783. That's 800-298-5783.
Winter driving in Wyoming. Are you prepared? Winter storms strike quickly across Wyoming's high plains and the mountains. When they do, driving conditions can deteriorate rapidly and become very challenging. Make sure your vehicle is ready for the elements and you have an emergency preparedness kit available. Driving on slick roads, always remember slower speed, acceleration, steering, and braking. Also turn off the cruise control and always buckle up. Ice and snow. Take it slow. Know before you go. For travel info, call 511 or online at wyoroad.info. Paid for by Federal Highway Safety Funds. In the 1960s, Bruce Lee said, "Be water, my friend." The meaning of that advice has been debated ever since. Here at First Tier Bank, we believe he meant that preserving your liquid assets in a high-yield money market account can get you a decent yield on your funds while maintaining your liquidity in choppy financial markets. We've got some of the best money market rates around, and we'd like to invite you to be water and make your liquid assets work for you. Stop by or call First Tier Bank today with 2 locations to serve you at 1508 Stillwater Avenue and 1800 Cary Avenue in downtown Cheyenne, or check us out at firsttierbanks.com. First Tier Banks, member FDIC.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 K-Ray.
Otherwise, for today, partly to mostly cloudy. Expected daytime high near 26 with a slight chance of snow developing this afternoon. For tonight, it's going to be partly cloudy and blustery with patchy blowing snow or low down to 19 degrees. Tomorrow, Thursday, partly to mostly cloudy and windy. We're looking for a daytime high near 32. And for Thursday night, mostly cloudy and windy or low down to 22 degrees. As we get ready to close out the program here for today, couple of things here just on the national side. For first, we'll go to the Avalanche, still kind of hobbling around and still staying above 500. But again, it's been really up and down for the defending Stanley Cup champions.
Well, again, the injuries have not been the best for the Avs. As it stands right now, Avs have made some movement, as we talked about again a couple weeks ago, where Avalanche keep an eye on them when they get these pieces back, which they have made up at least some ground in the standings. Again, we look as right now they're in the 3rd spot with 55 points, still trailing Winnipeg and Dallas, who sit at 64 and 63. So again, a little bit higher up on that to get into those positions. But as of right now, the Avs playoff bound if the playoffs were to start. So Avs, who were sitting at the bottom a couple weeks ago near Arizona and Chicago, have vaulted up just due to the fact that, again, that Central Division is as close as it is with all those other teams behind Winnipeg and Dallas.
And again, too, the Avs, like you said, putting some pieces together, starting to get somewhat healthy. They've still got a long way to go as far as health is concerned. But again, this is a credible team. It's viable. It can be.
It is not the best team as of right now in the NHL,
no,
again, especially in the Western Conference, where again Dallas makes an argument. Winnipeg, Vegas, L.A.
At the
Seattle.
end of the year, and again, this is kind of like the 49ers. You get all the pieces back by the end of the season. This is a doggone good team.
Avs, even though defending Cup champs, this team does not feel the same as last season. And again, obviously with the injuries, but again, the chemistry just, it doesn't feel the same this season for the Avs. Again, they'll be in the playoffs. Could they make a deep run? You can't say no against the Avalanche without a doubt. But I just think right now in this Western Conference, it's just way too loaded and too competitive with a lot of teams at the top. Again, as I mentioned, Dallas, Winnipeg, Vegas. You cannot overlook the Vegas Golden Knights, LA Kings, the Seattle Kraken. The Kraken have come out of nowhere after, again, just having a bad year last year. They've come out of nowhere, and their pieces are starting to at least really gel together. Again, for the Avs to get and represent the West in the Stanley Cup Finals, it's going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot, and they're going to have to up in or run through a gauntlet of just really, really good teams.
All right, and then let's switch over to the NBA. Right now, the number one seed in the West.
And they have been.
And again, out of their last 10 games, they've won 9. The Nuggets sporting a 34-14 record. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, their last loss was at Ball Arena, which they don't lose too often there. So, again, Nuggets, Grizz, Sacramento Kings, New Orleans Pelicans, LA Clippers, Dallas Mavericks. Those are the top 6 teams right now in the Western Conference.
Again, for the Nuggets sitting at that number 1 spot there in the Northwest Division. Again, no surprise. They got a clear and comfortable lead over the Utah Jazz, up by 10. But, again, I think for Nuggets fans, it's pretty much a cool, fine, and dandy that you're doing this here in the regular season. We've seen this how many years in a row at this point that you have a successful regular season. It's more so, what are you going to do in the playoffs?
Well, what is this team? More games still in regular season.
What is it? And again, Nuggets are going to the postseason. Again, what seeding they will be if it's 1 all the way on down. Again, it doesn't really matter. It's more so for the Nuggets. There's a lot of pressure this season of, can you make it to the Western Conference Finals? Can you get past that Western Conference Finals? Because if not, something's got to change, because this experiment is not doing a whole hell of a lot for you.
Well, and again, too, the defending champions, which are right now sitting at number 10.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of up and down.
You expect them to get healthy over the next 20 games or so. I mean, and again, when they are a healthy team, they're an unbeatable team.
Yeah, again, it's getting Clay back, getting Steph back to 100%. Draymond's kind of up and down. It's inconsistent play right now for the Warriors.
If they could play 500 and just stay right around there until you get all those pieces back healthy, there you go. Do you really want to face them in the playoffs?
Warriors are, that team where it doesn't matter seeding with them. Keep an eye out, because they turn it up a whole different level in the playoffs, especially if they get all pieces healthy by that time, which timeline shows that they should, barring anything else happening on that court. Warriors have been competitive in a lot of their contests. They've just kind of blown it in the last couple seconds. Again, I at least look to the previous couple games, again, against the Brooklyn Nets. They had a lead, a sizable lead.
Experience to start.
I'm just saying, you saw a sizable lead in Boston against the Celtics. So, again, they're competitive against these top-tier teams. They're just not, that ability to close it out is kind of at least a little forgone.
That's exactly what Cody said. If you remember, we were talking about the Wyoming Cowboys back in our first hour, talking about the basketball. Hey, they've been competitive. There's a couple games that get blown out, but they don't know how to seal the deal. This is that group on the floor right now, the Warriors. They don't know how to seal the deal. That's why you need the Stephs out there, and you need the Clays and Draymond Greens. Those are just 3, the three-headed monster. You get those 3 out there all at the same time, they close the deal.
4 teams right now in the Pacific Division are, at least as if the playoffs were to start, would be in the playoffs. The only team out of it, the Lakers. Go figure. No surprise. Again, it couldn't happen to a better franchise. Lakers, very quickly, with guarding that franchise. Again, here you go, another season of just worthless basketball with all this talent. You got to imagine, if they don't make the playoffs this year, that is LeBron going bye-bye?
Well, yeah, again, he's going to have to move on.
Westbrook going to move on. Anthony Davis. You got a lot of pieces there that have brought you, again, it brought you a COVID year championship, but outside that, you have proven to be worthless.
Well, he'll find out what team's going to spend the most money on him anyway. Real quick, I want to wrap up. And I have been a fan, kind of brought you along into that fandom. And again, you've had more opportunities than I have. Talking about WWE and Raw this past Monday. Think about this. On USA, celebrated its 30th anniversary. That is the longest running Monday program on television.
I think
now,
as of right now, longest running TV program of all time. Yeah.
So Monday they celebrated their 30th anniversary. Rolled out a lot of great old superstars. Again, my era. You know, the Undertaker.
Well, my era.
Well, I know, but the Undertaker, Ric Flair. You know, you go right down the list of where I grew up with these guys, and then you take a look at today's sports entertainment athlete. I think it was a great match between Theory and Bobby Lashley, and then here comes Brock Lesnar. Kind of sets the tone, because what we have coming up this weekend, if I'm not mistaken, is Royal Rumble.
Live from the Alamo Dome, San Antonio, yeah.
Which leads into that right there is kind of the tone setter for WrestleMania.
Well, yeah, it's the start of the road to WrestleMania, which, again, as I've had the chance for the past 2 years, again, year 3 out in Los Angeles, myself and my girlfriend Gina will be out there in Los Angeles for WrestleMania 39 out there in Hollywood, so looking forward to that. But, yes, it kind of sets up the situation, this Royal Rumble, again, this at least Saturday night, so looking forward to it, again, as we got a power-packed weekend of events, whether it is starting up Thursday, tomorrow night with East versus Central here at Story, Saturday, again, you got the Royal Rumble, Sunday with NFC and AFC championship contest, so, again, a power-packed at least weekend to watch, yeah, without a doubt, especially as we're expecting colder temperatures, snow in the forecast. So, again, what a better way to spend time inside with a lot of sports going on, whether it's sports entertainment or actually, again, the quote-unquote real sports, again, with the NFL, at least championship
But going
game.
back to that sports entertainment, whether, and how many times we've heard the word, well, it's fake. But you know what? There was 18,000 fans at the Wells Fargo Arena in Philly this weekend. Going to the Alamo Dome this past Monday. And then you go to the Alamo Dome this weekend. What is it going to be, about 50,000, something like that?
60, 70, somewhere in there,
Yeah. So, obviously.
WrestleMania already has, again, for SoFi, and they've already exceeded expectations. They're already expecting 90,000 plus per both nights because, again, it's a 2-night affair with WrestleMania now. But, again, is wrestling getting back to its healthy level? Again, it will never match the 90s of the Attitude Era, again, the Monday Night Wars of WCW and WWF, or, again, at that time, now WWE. But it's a situation that you can tell that it's getting healthy, and, again, with the direction, again, the movement of, again, Triple H taking over, again, compared to Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon, again, is back as, again, chairman of the board, so to speak, or in kind of that executive chair, even though he's not going to make the decisions. He's more so in that chair to guide, again, that sell for the WWE, which, again, is at one time was rumored to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, which, again, that was immediately dispelled. Looks like talks with Disney owning WWE. Who knows? It's more so he's back in that role. Wrestling, especially with the competition now, again, with AEW, even though, again, not on the same level of WWE, but you can see that wrestling is getting back to that healthy level. Not so much what we saw in the late 90s, but it's getting back to, all right, fans are starting to come back. Arenas are starting to get a little bit more sold out here, and at least here for, again, those weekly programs or, again, even pay-per-view.
AEW, NWA, they still got a long way to go. I mean, they are popular in their parts of the world, but worldwide, nationally, WWE far and above the best. All right, let's wrap things up here. Want to remind everybody this show will re-air tonight or this afternoon, 4 until 6 p.m. So do join us for that. We also will have for you the Golden Age of Radio Theater coming up from 8 until 10. Nick and myself courtside tomorrow. East Central, our pregame show right around 5:45. Girls will tap at 6. Guys to follow at 7:30. All for you here, 1480 K-Ray, 101.1 FM, 1480KRay.com, and also on the visual side.
1480 K-Ray's YouTube channel. Give us a subscribe. Give us a like. Again, we appreciate that. Again, completely free. Audio issues have been figured out. Again, new mixer board. So, again, apologies for Friday's action Saturday. Again, the previous iterations of K-Ray Reports and the Pro Show where, again, we had to work through what we had. Thankfully, again, we got the new board in. And, again, it sounds, as I've already tested it, sounds a hell of a lot better than what we had to deal with for the past couple days. So, thankfully, that is all figured out.
All right, so for Nick Proietti, I'm Larry Proietti. That wraps up the Pro Show for today. We now return